and welcome to our fall cooking workshop where we're going to look at some cleansing recipes that are going to help us stay grounded, calm, and nourished this fall. So we're going to start off with our red lentils, which you should have had on your shopping list. These are high in fiber, they are protein rich, they're excellent for stabilizing blood sugar. And so these are really something that we should be having on our list when we're thinking about, menopause, postmenopausal food. The lentils are a real winner for us. So if you have, or you know someone in your family that is not so good at tolerating them, do make sure that you do these things to help you to make them more tolerable. So make sure that you wash them until all of the white is washed out. And what that does is removes the starch from the seed. Sorry, they're not a seed, they're a legume. It removes the starch from the legume. And that helps it helps it to become more digestible. And you can also just start with really reducing the amount of legume that you give them. So it could be anything as like just 1 tablespoon per day that you give them to get used to, because it's all about the bacteria in the gut, which helps to break down, as you know. And so when we've got the right culture in our guts, a culture that's kind of used to lentils, it helps us to tolerate them more. So you start off by giving them just 1 tablespoon and then increasing that, 1/4 of a cup, or like take it down, take it up, like work out what is the sweet spot, but just keep building it every day and you will get them, no doubt, I'm sure, to eat a normal dosage once they're short. So we're going to make a doll with this today, and we're going to put it on straight away. So I boiled the kettle, and you're just going to put this lentil in with the hot water. Yeah, just straight away like that. I'm going to boil a little bit more hot water. And just boiling the water makes it, a little bit quicker to cook. Or soaking the lentils a couple of hours beforehand also will help it to cook that little bit easier. And then we're going to allow the lentils to cook on the stove over there. And whilst we're doing that, we're going to start our next dish, which is going to be a beetroot raita. So let's grate our peeled beetroot. Now, most people think, oh, beetroots, don't like them, or they take so long to cook. But this recipe is a winner. You can see it cooks up in no time. And it tastes amazing. So you grate that up. And let's put that in a bowl. and off to one side. Wash my fingers, give that a little bit, let's see. And then let's come over to our pan. Yeah, I'm going to put some leek in there. And the leek, just give it this really brown, deep, hearty, delicious colour. But you can't leave it out, that's the thing. So what we'll do is cut. We make it up nice and fine, like to slice down the middle, so we clean. So grab a good tablespoon of ghee, put that on flame. Some spices in there, it's a bit of fenugreek, which is great for Cappadocia, great for Vata, dosha. A little bit of ginger. Onion or leek. Give that a stir. Coats in the spices. So if you're Cappadocia, then you can go a little bit more heavier on those spices. If you're Pitta or Vata, you want less drying spices, but not too much. Moderation is the key. Add in your beetroot and allow that to start cooking down. Let's add a touch of water, about 2 tablespoons. You'll notice that the beetroot goes from dark purple to a light burgundy as it starts to cook. And you'll notice that it doesn't take long. It's going to take you literally 5 minutes until that starts to cook down. And then you're going to see that we can turn on the fire. You can put in a couple of tablespoons of lemon juice to keep the colour nice and bright. We can even put in a bit of fresh ginger. What tablespoon? Teaspoon, sorry, teaspoon. And give it a stir. Those are really cooking up lovely. And I'm going to turn the fire right the way down. And in a sec, put that over to the side. Put a little bit more water in the lentils and also put some ghee, another tablespoon. And then we're going to add in our tarka, so spices on top. I would say about half a teaspoon of mustard seeds, or up to a teaspoon if you're a kappa, and about 8 curry leaves go in the mix. And we're going to allow these to release their aromas whilst we come over to the lentils and also just skim off this white foam. And that is those starches again. That's what gives people gas. So we want to remove that during cooking. Yeah, just like that. Look at that. Okay, and allow that to continue cooking. The seeds will start to burst and start to pop. And then you need some yogurt. Now, I mentioned that because I'm eating more plant-based at this moment during cleansing, that we're going to use a coconut yogurt. And you can use coconut yogurt, or you can use goat, sheep, or goat yogurt. That's another great alternative. We're going to put that into the beetroots. And Hingley, great yogurt. Okay, hearing those mustard seeds start to pop, and that releases any of that bitter taste that the mustard seeds have, and then you put those on top and start to mix that in. We've got 2 spoons here. We mix that into the beetroots. My goodness, love that pink and burgundy colour. And then that is our Raita side dish. And you can add in there some coconut flakes to give it some extra texture, just like a tablespoon if they're in there, going to be delicious. Okay, let's go in a serving dish. We've got our serving dish and voila. There we go. Lovely. Gorgeous colour and the taste. Test. We'll put them up in a minute. I'm going to allow that to just cool down a little bit and grab a tea. All right, so let's make our curry powder for fall. As you can see, this is my trusted refilled seasoning for the season. And we're going to make a full curry powder. And so what you're going to need for that is, let's start off with our cumin seeds, coriander, black pepper, turmeric, some cinnamon, some ginger, and some fenugreek and clove. So some of the seeds I've already just crushed and made into a powder. So that's the cinnamon, that's the base, which is going to be cumin seeds, which I use a lot in my cooking because of its benefits for the gallbladder and helping blood sugar. Same with cinnamon. So we got 3 tablespoons of the cumin, 2 of the cinnamon, 2 of the coriander. Actually, let's go 3 of the coriander, 1 of the fenugreek, and 1 of the ginger, 2 of the turmeric, and then we take 1 of the black pepper. So make 1 tablespoon of the seeds and crush those down, breaking up the seeds and then just letting them crush, and then finally mixing those all together. Let's not forget, and there is our curry powder that we can add into our lentils. So along with the dried herbs that we're going to use in our dal, we can cut up some fresh turmeric and ginger. So just get the roots, take off the skin, and then add those in and cut them up nice and fine. There you go. Add in of the curry powder and a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. Add some butternut squash and leave it to simmer for another 20 minutes.